Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Fabulous. Coming up, we have Dear John Letters. Don't you usually say that with me? No, you don't? Sometimes. She's on her phone right now. I'm sure that's a really important call, whoever that is. You texting? You dialing a number?
I'm booking a band.
You calling for help? Is that what you're doing? Help me. I'm locked in the studio with a maniac. Okay, we've got Dear John Letters coming up later in the program. I'm excited for that. Also, I do have a quote for today. Today's quote is from George Bernard Shaw. He says, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." Love it.
True
He's got a couple
story.
of great quotes. George Bernard Shaw had some very quotable things that he said. So one of my favorite quotes is from him. I'll tell that to you later, maybe. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. If you have a dog, listen to this. FreshPatch.com is a subscription service that will send you a box with a fresh patch of grass for your dog to use for a few weeks. Then they send you a new fresh patch and you discard the old one. You can throw it in the trash, use it for compost, or even put it in your yard and it'll grow into the ground. FreshPatch.com has thousands of happy dog families who love this concept, especially in the colder months. Try it now for a little less. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask because I thought I would forget to ask you. I almost forgot how I do this. It's Thursday, the 20th day of September, National Fried Rice Day, National String Cheese Day, National Punch Day, and National Pepperoni Pizza Day.
I love all of those
I do
things.
too. What a meal. That would be an interesting meal,
Right?
but maybe we should do that.
I think that would be a great meal.
No, not a great meal, but it'd be...
It all sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this bizarre Thursday. Radio. It's a pretty amazing marketing tool. But like many tools, it works best when used properly. Like, let's take this weed whacker. I could use this to trim my hair. Yikes. Hope that grows back. But that's not what weed whackers are for. Tools work much better when you use them for their proper use, just like radio. If you want help making radio work better for your business, that's our business. RadioReallyWorks.com. Get better results with the money you're already spending. RadioReallyWorks.com. Time now for Is It a Golf Course or Is It a Rehab Center? Heidi has to tell me this. Spring Mountain, Las Vegas, Nevada. Rehab Center or golf course?
Spring Mountain?
Spring Mountain, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Golf course.
It is a rehab center. Yeah, you tried. A swing and a miss. But this has been another fun-filled, action-packed episode of Is It a Golf Course or Is It a Rehab Center? We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. Timeforrehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com. And this is your brain on drugs. As he faced arrest, a Florida man took the opportunity to channel his inner Michael Scott from The Office. According to an arrest affidavit, he got pulled over for driving. He's 31-year-old Brandon McComas. They noticed the vehicle did not have a tag light, so like you couldn't see the license plate. So they went up and talked to the guy, and he was attempting to conceal a large bulge under his pocket and under his arm. And that was drugs, is what it turned out to be. Anyway, while conducting a pat-down, the deputy inquired about the long cylindrical object in his pants. "That's what she said," is what he replied. Turned out to be marijuana and a glass pipe. He was issued a tag light citation and a pot possession citation. So he got in trouble because he was smoking the wacky weed. That's what she said, is what he said.
That's hilarious.
That's what he said. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. What a weird story.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. Roseanne discussed her struggles with Ambien during the season premiere of the Dr. Oz show, and it is now out for sure that she is dying off in the Roseanne, which they
Yeah,
talked
well,
about.
we knew that.
But they're going to have her die off in an opioid overdose. Is that what
Yes,
she said?
that's what I read. So
So now in the
I'm not gonna
last
watch that show at
episode
all,
of last
so-
season, they had her addicted to
Yep.
painkillers. So, and then she was going to be going to another country, or she was getting like a
to have a knee surgery.
yeah. So they were. It's almost like they were leading up to it before any of the stuff happened. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Hey, the ratings for Miss America fell by 19%. And there's speculation that it's because they removed the swimsuit portion of the pageant. Do you think that's why it fell?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that's all of it or if that's just part of it. I don't know. And Jeff Fager from 60 Minutes was fired for sending a harshly worded text warning to Jerica Duncan, the CBS News reporter who was covering the sexual harassment scandal. So she's working on the story, and he sent her a warning basically saying, don't talk about me. And she shared it with the world, and he got fired. Whoa.
Well,
It's a bad day to be a pervert, isn't it? It's just not a good time to be that. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show. Radio. It's a pretty amazing marketing tool. But like many tools, it works best when used properly. Like, let's take this weed whacker. I could use this to trim my hair. Yikes. Hope that grows back. But that's not what weed whackers are for. Tools work much better when you use them for their proper use, just like radio. If you want help making radio work better for your business, that's our business. RadioReallyWorks.com. Get better results with the money you're already spending. RadioReallyWorks.com. Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by 80sinthesand.com. Britain's oldest person told an interviewer that whiskey was the key to her reaching 112
how
years
many
young.
times do we hear that from
We hear
these
that a lot.
elderly people? It's always booze.
When I was a kid, I was a young lad, just a wee young lad growing up in the great state of South Dakota.
Wee lad.
And my neighbor was the first Caucasian born in the Dakota Territory.
Okay.
So, kids, I'm not that old. He was really old. He was 106 years young. And he would sit on his front porch drinking Jack Daniels right out of the bottle. He was 106. And I think he smoked cigars, too. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Postal worker in Milwaukee by the name of Ebony Levon Smith admitted to stealing 6,000 greeting cards from unsuspecting intended recipients, and she stole out the cash and gift cards from inside. It's like, ooh, someone's having a birthday, and it's me. So she kept them. Former postal worker, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
New study from the personal finance website Wallet Hub ranks all 50 states in terms of happiness. We've talked about this before. Which state is the happiest of all states, Heidi?
I don't remember.
Hawaii.
Florida.
No,
Oh,
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Who is the least happy state of all?
North Dakota.
No, it's actually West Virginia. So, nice try. You don't win. And Arizona, I don't know what you were going to win, but whatever it was.
I never win anything.
Whatever it was, you were out. An Arizona driver found herself in trouble with the law for allegedly putting a mannequin in the passenger seat and then driving in the carpool lane.
That happens a lot.
Yeah. How much do you suppose her fine is for doing that? Minimum fine of $400.
Oh, I was going to guess higher than that.
No, $400. That's still a lot. I mean, wouldn't it be just cheaper to try?
Get a friend?
Yeah, well, that would work too, I guess. SpaceX is planning to launch a tourist trip around the moon, and the company is revealing the person's identity during a big event on Monday the 17th. That was this Monday, and I did not get the call, so it must not be me. This story is from
That
last
is not
week.
something I would want to do.
I'm trying to get through all of these stories. This stuff stacks up. This is all just such good stuff. How do I get rid of any of this? Like this. If you're a germaphobe, you might want to avoid your car. A study shows the average vehicle has 283 types of bacteria inside of it
Yep.
in every square inch. Yeah, if you're riding in the car right now, the handles that you use to get in and
Everything.
out, the gear
Your
shifter,
steering wheel.
the seat that you're sitting on. I know, I'm sorry for germaphobes. It's a cesspool.
It is.
But you know what? So is every other place you go all day. And you're still just fine, so don't worry about it. One last thing. From Scotland, a woman there called the police to say that a rabbit that she had purchased through a newspaper ad had the wrong kind of ears. She literally called the emergency number, like our version of
Wow.
911. She called to say a rabbit that I bought had floppy ears, but when I got home, I discovered that his ears are not floppy.
Okay.
Can we do something about that? And they're like, yeah, we're going to come arrest you. That's what we're going to do. What a terrible thing to do. Don't
Yeah.
waste their time. Bad idea. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show. We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. Timeforrehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com. And it's time right now for Dear John Letters.
Dear John, Dear John.
If you've got a Dear John letter you'd like to submit, we'll tell you how to submit yours in just a bit. And we'll also tell you where you can go to chime in for today's Dear John letter. So as you listen, if you say, I've got much better advice than John and Heidi, first of all, you're probably right. But second of all, you can give that advice to this person, and we'll tell you how to do that here in just a bit. But first, we'll start with this. Dear John, I'm in a pickle. Not sure if you can help, but I thought it would be worth asking for input. I've been a manager for about 6 months now, so I'm still pretty new. I've hired several new people recently, and there are 2 ladies that just can't get along. They both a little too competitive, and everything turns into a major competition. Now, I have one of them telling me she's going to quit if I don't fire the other one. If I had my choice, I'd like to keep them both, but if I have to pick one, it's the one who's not asking me to choose between them. They both do a good job, but everything always turns into a competition, and they're hurting the whole company by acting the way they do. What should I do? Fire one, fire both, or let one quit? This is a ton for me to decide since I'm still new. Since I'm still so new at this, I sure could use your help. Signed, new manager. So, first of all, welcome to the world of management. It's like being a daycare provider for adults.
Ridiculous.
And here's the thing. Not all people are going to be really hard to work with, and it's not always going to be difficult. But I got to tell you, that's the way it works because, you know, you're the boss now, and you have to make decisions. And at the end of the day, you really are the one that's going to have to make the decision. But I'm going to tell you what I would do, but first I'm going to ask Heidi. I will yield the floor to Ms. Small over here, my beautiful bride. What would you? The question was, would you fire one, fire both, or let the one quit?
For me, the decision is easy. You let the one quit that is complaining, because if you fire her, you have to pay unemployment. You have to pay, all of those things that a company has to do when they fire somebody. If she's threatening you as the manager, it's that you don't want an employee like that.
And here,
let her quit.
Heidi and I agree on this because I was going to say the exact same thing, but for kind of different reasons. If you give in to the person, she's not the manager, you are. If you give in to her and you do exactly what she says, now what happens when somebody else comes along and she wants you to fire them? You're going to constantly have to do whatever she tells you to do. Otherwise, well, she's just going to quit.
Yeah.
So let her quit and let her go somewhere else. There's a gentleman who has a really great book series. It's the Roy Williams is his name, Wizard of Ads, and I love the book series. Anyway, I was reading his newsletter, and he said in there, the secret to making sure you only have happy people working for you is this: fire all the unhappy ones.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm only half kidding about that. And then he goes on to explain how when you have somebody that's not happy, they kind of destroy the environment for everybody. Yep. So I agree with what you're saying here. It says they both do a good job. Everything turns into a competition, and they're hurting the whole company acting the way they do. But they also in this letter said, if I had my choice, I'd keep them both. So it sounds like they're doing a good job, except for they just can't get along with each other.
You just can't keep employees that give you ultimatums. You
so
just
that's
can't.
where
that's
again,
just where it is.
When it comes down to it, me personally, I would just say, you know what? I'd love to have you both stay here. And if you can both be adults and just get along, you can go far. You can do really well. But if you can't, I'm not going to fire her. So if that means you're turning in your notice, I'll accept your resignation right now.
Right.
And that's just the way I would do it.
Yep, me too.
So Heidi, we're going to have that conversation about that resignation. So just kidding. This letter is not for me, and it's not about Heidi. No, in all seriousness, I would love to hear other people with their input because, Heidi, we've got some of the brightest minds in the world that listen to this program. Did you know that?
Of course we do.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so smart, they choose this over everything else. So thank you for doing that. And if you would be so willing to chime in with your advice, you can do that at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I posted this early today, so it's already there. You can go in, chime in with your advice. Also, if you have a question for next week or for the following week, whenever, you can submit it through that same channel, or you can do it right on our website, and that is johnandheidishow.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
John and Heidi. If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers, or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A female architecture student prevented a Manhattan-sized skyscraper from collapsing in the 70s when she caught a massive design flaw.
Really?
So, yeah. She was looking at it, she's like, oh, hey, you guys forgot the decimal point here. So it would have been like 10 times weaker. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. That is a really fun fact because she caught that and saved lives, which is a great, great, great thing. Thanks for listening to this fun fact right here on The John and Heidi Show. If you have a dog, listen to this. FreshPatch.com is a subscription service that will send you a box with a fresh patch of grass for your dog to use for a few weeks. Then they send you a new fresh patch and you discard the old one. You can throw it in the trash, use it for compost, or even put it in your yard and it'll grow into the ground. FreshPatch.com has thousands of happy dog families who love this concept, especially in the colder months. Try it now for a little less. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO. Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day, and today's word is brizzle. Brizzle, B-R-I.
Brizzle.
Yeah, brizzle, B-R-I-Z-Z-L-E. Brizzle is a verb. To scorch near to burning or to slightly singe.
I thought it sounded like a cooking term. I was going to say something to do with cooking.
You're going to want to brizzle that gristle. That's probably not the kind of thing you'd want to brizzle. I don't know what you would be brizzling. What would you brizzle? Is that something you do when you're making,
roasted marshmallows?
I was thinking peanut brittle. Brizzle the brittle? No, maybe not.
No.
Archaic, unknown origin. They don't know where it came from. But brizzle, to scorch near to burning or slightly singe. Brizzle, today's grandiloquent word. We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. TimeForRehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. TimeForRehab.com. That's TimeForRehab.com. Now some weird news for you. On a Thursday, police are investigating an attempted robbery of an e-cig in Denver. Clumsy would-be thief dropped the gun over the counter and then quickly fled the store. It was all caught on camera. In the video, the suspect walks up to a counter and pulls out what the owner and employee later found out was a airsoft or BB gun. The footage continues as the suspect fumbles the gun and tries to hop the counter, but the employee picks up the weapon, forcing the suspect to take off running. He was wearing gloves. The store's owner hopes the evidence left behind will help police. Store owner said there were no fingerprints in the store, but definitely on the firearm itself. You know, the clip and everything, they got fingerprints off of that. That was a quote. So there you go. It's a bizarre quote. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
So this guy, hold on.
Yeah?
We got to come back to this a little bit. This guy was trying to steal an e-cig.
Apparently.
With an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
And when he dropped his airsoft gun, he got scared of the airsoft gun that he had and ran away from it?
Well, he didn't want to get, hit with that airsoft thing. He's like, oh no. Now you have a gun.
I have a gun.
I better run. Yeah. It's the fake gun that you brought. Remember that? No, they could have had a real gun, too. You never know.
Wow.
Bad idea. But that's what happens when your brain is on drugs. And he probably was, although that's not in the story. I'm just guessing. This is definitely today's weird news, though.
John and Heidi.
Now, today's moment of duh. Authorities in Missouri say a man there accidentally shot himself in the groin. That's not what it says in the story, but that's what we're going to say. And then he said somebody else shot him there. The Columbia Daily Tribune reports that 19-year-old Taylor Joseph Guthrie is charged with a misdemeanor count of making a false report after he was wounded in July at a mobile home park in Prathersville. Court documents say he told the deputies that a suspect fired at him from the park entrance and fled. They later found a shell casing near where he had been standing, indicating the shot hadn't been fired from the entrance, but right where he was. Later, he said he was actually retrieving the 9mm pistol from a car when it accidentally went off. That gun, by the way, was reportedly stolen from Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, see, that's where the problem...
Yeah.
I was wondering, why would he lie about accidentally shooting himself, but because he had a stolen weapon?
It was a misdemeanor. He was hoping that it would be a misdemeanor. Okay. Bad joke?
Wow.
Thanks for listening. I was trying to find a place to squeeze that in. I should have just left it out. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Time now for fake news or Florida. Heidi has to tell me if this is a true story from the great state of Florida, or is it fake news? Is it made up just to fool you and Heidi? All right. Fake news or Florida? Police in Sarasota, Florida, are trying to determine who donated 5 pounds of marijuana to a local thrift store. Fake news or Florida?
Florida.
True story. Absolutely. So if that is you, they would love to thank you.
Happen.
They'd love to thank you for the donation. So reach out to them right away. 5 pounds of marijuana. What is that even worth, Heidi? What's the street value?
I don't know. It's been a while.
You don't know? I don't know either. We have no clue. You want to do one more?
Sure, yeah.
Fake news or Florida? 2 Catholic priests were caught having nookie in a car parked in Miami.
Florida.
Fake news? Did you know? Did you read this somewhere?
I have read this story.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody sent that to me.
It was disgusting.
I didn't know whether I should read that or not. And I G-rated that story as much as I could, by the way. So I do have a link to it if you want to know all the details.
Didn't stop. People were coming up to the windows. And
I just don't know.
It's
enough. Hey, we are done. This is why I didn't even want to read the story. We've got some good news to get to. Thank goodness. That is on the way. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news, Heidi. Our good news comes very courtesy of Odiva, and Odiva is the monthly subscription service just for the ladies. All the details at radiosavings.com. You ready for some good news?
Ready.
All right. I'm also ready. If my computer would get ready, that would be awesome. When doctors predicted these coma patients would not wake up, Al disagreed. I don't think it's Al. I think it's AI. There we go. Yeah, down here. Artificial intelligence. Up here, it looks like Al. I should have pre-read that story. Then, after Al guessed that, all 7 patients woke up. Artificial intelligence has proven itself to be a lifesaver for vegetative hospital patients. A team of China's best neurologists recently tested their assessments of coma patients in contrast to artificial intelligence systems. After reviewing a variety of conditions, 7 patients in Beijing, the doctors there rated their coma recovery scale very low. They said, no, very unlikely. Well, then they connected them to this system, or however this works. I don't know what they did, however it works. But as it turns out, the artificial intelligence program was right. All 7 patients woke up within a year. So, within a year?
I feel like if you wait long enough...
I don't know if that's going to...
Aren't a lot of them going to come?
No, I don't know. But I just thought it's like when you predict something and then it happens.
Is this all in one hospital? Like, that's an awful lot of... Doesn't that seem like a lot of coma patients?
If you want to read... I don't know. There's probably, like, specific places where people go. So, yeah, they would all be together. You think there's just like in every
I don't know,
hospital?
it seems like that's a really high number of coma patients.
You think in
one
every
hospital.
regular hospital there's like one room somewhere like, oh, hey, we got a guy in a coma. Let's put him up in room 7. I don't think that's how it works, Heidi.
Because if 7 of them came too, that means there's more still in the coma.
Could be.
So
I
how
have no
many
idea.
coma patients do they have at this hospital?
I don't know. They
Maybe
should talk
you might
to Al.
want to avoid that hospital.
They should talk to that Al fella that's figuring this stuff out. Okay, my mistake. It's not Al. It was AI, which is artificial intelligence, and I'm looking for any sort of intelligence right now. If you would like to read the story, I have a link to it in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Thursday. What a wild and wacky program this has been. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.